Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light. I shit me pants. This is Martin anyway.
The scariest thing in the woods isn't what you hear, it's what you don't. Because in a healthy forest, something is always making noise. Crickets, wind, small movements. When it goes dead silent, it's because the woods are holding their breath. Gaz didn't hear a footstep. He didn't hear a branch snap. But he was about to realize that someone had been standing 5 feet behind him for a very long time. This person didn't call out. They didn't have a light. And by the time the sun came up, something precious would be gone, proving that Gaz wasn't just visited. He was hunted.
Could have brought hammock, but the reason why I've got my tent is because it's got this tent. Oh, it's just Fendi. It's because it's got 3 doors. I can look out that way, and that way. So if I hear any noises during night, I can have a quick peek out. Plus I didn't fancy being in hammock, being in a bear taco, ready for the eating.
Gaz isn't a hobbyist. He's a veteran camper. He knows the vibe of the woods. But this night, the math didn't add up. Notice his tent placement. He didn't pick this spot for the view, he picked it because of the lines of sight. He chose a tent with 2 doors. In psychology, we call this preemptive hypervigilance. Even before the threat appeared, Gaz's subconscious was already building an exit strategy. He knew. He just didn't know what he knew yet.
Right, we've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye. Pot boiling for some mash. And I've got a visitor.
The fire was steady. Steak was searing. This is the vulnerability window. When we eat, our parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. We relax. Our peripheral vision narrows. But earlier that afternoon, Gaz had done something instinctual. He'd hidden a trail camera out on the main path. He thought he was just being cautious. He didn't realize he was setting a trap for a ghost.
Now I need to figure out where I'm going to put me trail camera.
Then the air changed. No hello, no flashlight beam waving in the trees, just a voice, close enough to feel the breath.
Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light. I shit me pants. This is Martin anyway.
Got a light? Stop. Think about the physics of that. To walk through a forest floor covered in dry leaves and pine needles without making a sound requires 2 things: incredible patience or practice. This man didn't stumble upon the camp. He stalked the perimeter until the exact moment Gaz was most distracted.
I don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak, so...
Just some random creep wandering about.
You went round here in a poncho a couple of months ago, were you?
I don't think I was. I could have been. It's possible.
Right, gonna get these cooked up.
Gaz did what we're conditioned to do. He was polite. He shared his food. Steak, potatoes, a warm drink. Martin talked. He talked about being stabbed, about addiction, about the darkness of the world. In a normal social exchange, there is reciprocity. I give, you give. But Martin was only taking. He took the food, he took the warmth, and most importantly, he was taking information. He was looking at Gaz's gear. He was measuring Gaz's fear. Predators don't have conversations. They conduct interviews.
The more I think about it, the stranger it gets. Fed that lad, and let's be honest, he was a junkie, right? Fed him, talking about life and how he got to where he is and drugs and whatnot. And then turned around to cut some firewood up. So I cut a couple of logs up, When I turned back round, he'd gone. So scanned about and he was just walking off into darkness. So I said, see you later, pal. He went, yeah, see ya. And just left. And I just found that really fucking strange. Note's gone missing or out, he hadn't taken out. But the fact that he just left without saying out has put the EBGBs up me. Because he's going for two things. One, going to tell his mates that there's a guy camping out with a load of filming equipment. And two, he's going to score because he needs his fix. And even then, if he goes and scores, has his fix, talking with his mates while he's high. And I don't want to be having to fight off a load of smackheads at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? But I've left my trail camera down there, so we'll go back in the morning and see if he's been. But my gut were telling me don't stay there, so I packed up, throwing a load of water on fire. Now I'm making my way out, but I'll see you in the morning.
Then, without a thank you or a good night, Martin stood up and walked straight into the blackness. Not toward a trail, just away. The silence returned, but it felt heavier now. There's a term for this, the gift of fear. It's the cellular recognition that you are no longer the top of the food chain in your immediate vicinity. Mate, I was a cop for 30 years and that sixth sense was my lifesaver on a few occasions. Don't ever ignore it. Everyone is always scared of unknown things in the woods. The scariest thing you can encounter is another person. Considering you are surrounded by twigs and fallen branches, the fact that you didn't hear him until he made contact with you being right behind you tells me he had other ideas on his mind. Creeping up on someone you don't know in the woods is strange behavior. I personally wouldn't camp there again. Gaz didn't wait for a second interview. He packed. He left. Most people would say Gaz overreacted. It was just a lonely homeless guy, they'd say.
Well, good morning. I'm on my way back to the camp to collect my trail camera and see if that random smackhead came back. Trail camera's gone. That's where it was, on this tree. So my gut instincts were right, weren't they, to leave.
Gaz went back the next morning to retrieve his trail camera. The tree was bare. Martin, or whoever was with him, didn't just disappear into the night. They stayed. They watched Gaz leave. And then they took the only evidence that they were ever there. The scariest thing about the woods isn't the fear of being alone. It's the sudden, cold realization that you never were.